Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for Working Homeschool Moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm a homeschool coach and homeschooling mom of twin boys. I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom that you can implement in your life too. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. Be sure to check out my time audit and mindset challenge in the show notes and sign up to my newsletter for lots of cool freebies. And if you ever need to chat, please book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here and I hope you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Are you looking for a new math curriculum? Well, I'm thrilled to introduce our favorite math curriculum to you. CTCMath specializes in providing online video tutorials that take a multi-sensory approach to learning. Favorably reviewed in Cathy Duffy's 102 top picks and the old Schoolhouse crew review, the lessons are short and concise to help your children break down concepts and appreciate math in a whole new way. The lessons are taught the traditional way and not to a test. Each one of the video tutorials is taught by an internationally acclaimed teacher, Pat Murray, who is renowned for teaching math concepts in a simple, easy to understand way and in only a few minutes at a time. Using a multi-sensory approach means having the combination of effective graphics and animation synchronized with the voice of a friendly teacher together with a practical assessment. This three-pronged attack makes learning so much easier and more effective. Even students who struggled with math are getting fantastic results, and ones who were doing okay before are now doing brilliantly. Visit ctcmath.com today to start your free trial. CTC Maths is generously offering my listeners an amazing special. Go to www.ctcmath.com/MLH to get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com/MLH. Hi there, working homeschool mom. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is episode number 42 of the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. And before I get into the episode, I would just love it if you could rate, review, and subscribe because it is really helps to get the podcast in front of other working homeschool moms. And I really want to support as many as possible. So if you could do that, I would be ever so grateful. Okay, so let's get on to today's topic. So how to deal with homeschool burnout in a positive way. Homeschool burnout can super easily happen to people who are home educating their kids. Being a teacher of any kind is really full on. I know as an EFL teacher, after a lot of sessions, I can feel really, really exhausted. And then if you're homeschooling your kids, you bring on that extra baggage of emotions and all those things kind of involved with being their parent. So it can be really, really tiring to homeschool. And if you throw on an extra layer of being a working homeschool mom, it can easily lead to homeschool burnout. I've been there and luckily I've worked through it. So I just want to share some of the ways that you can overcome or prevent homeschool burnout in a positive way. The first thing to do is going to sound super obvious, and that is to rest when you need to. I hear you saying, duh. But I know from experience, it's easier said than done to prioritize yourself when you have to work and homeschool. You have to make a concerted effort to slow down when you're feeling overwhelmed because it might be something that you don't do naturally. You might be used to just pushing on through. I think one of the biggest issues with homeschooling, especially when you start out, is that you feel like you're under a lot of pressure to do everything and to do everything perfectly as well. You've taken on this huge responsibility of educating your children. And you might feel like you need to go all the time, like you need to offer them this perfect, amazing learning experience. And that is a recipe for burnout. And also another thing that could be an issue is that you might need to fit in homeschooling during times when you would normally rest, like evenings or weekends. And once again, can very easily lead to burnout. So some ways to prioritize rest are to simplify your life so that you can have more time for what's important, such as rest. And also to realize that taking a break won't have a negative effect on your kids. Taking a day, 2 days, even a week, 2 weeks off when everybody's feeling really overwhelmed, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, is super, super helpful and it will help prevent or manage burnout as well. And also another thing to do is to ask for help when things are getting too overwhelming. I know this can also be hard, but it is important to reach out when you just feel like everything is getting on top of you. The next point is something that I harp on about, I know, but it's because it's so important. So you could also prevent homeschool burnout by not comparing. I talk about comparison all the time because it can really make your homeschooling experience awful. Trust me when I tell you that even really experienced homeschoolers like me, I mean, I've been homeschooling for more than 5 years, and many of my podcast guests still struggle with comparisonitis. And this can very easily turn into homeschool burnout. So, for example, you could be trying to emulate a homeschool that has a very different reality to you. They might have more space, more money, more time, more help, more experience than you do. So it's not going to be viable for you to try and copy what they're doing. Because if you're going to be trying to do something that is not impossible, I'm going to say impossible, but that is really hard because, like I said, the reality is different. You're going to burn out. The sooner you embrace your unique homeschool, the better it will be for you and your family. Other things that you can do, you could also find like-minded people online or in your community for support. This has been incredibly powerful for me. You could also unfollow anyone who makes you feel bad about yourself. You could also find more realistic and honest homeschoolers to follow. And I'm happy to say that this is a trend where people are being much more realistic about the messiness, about the exhaustion, about all the difficult things about homeschooling. I think it's really, really great that people are being more honest about their homeschooling experiences. You could even get off social media entirely. I know it sounds extreme, but it is possible. I've done it. It was hard, but it can be worth it to just take a break at least. The next thing that I find really, really helps is to homeschool year round, because this makes for a much more relaxed homeschool day. Homeschooling year round is a really fantastic way to take off the pressure and to prevent homeschool burnout. As you've probably noticed, is also one of my favorite homeschooling tips. So just to think about how much more relaxed you're going to feel if you can fit your homeschool work into 12 months rather than 8 or 9 months. So much more relaxing. I know it may seem counterintuitive because you're always homeschooling, but if you make homeschooling as easy as possible and work towards making your kids independent learners, you're going to really feel the benefit of year-round homeschooling. And another bonus of this type of schedule is that you can easily and without guilt take breaks when you really, really need them. And you could even homeschool for 4 days a week rather than 5. We do this and it hasn't impacted the amount of work we get done. Lastly, you'll prevent the dreaded back to homeschool blues. So this is something that we have just recently struggled with. And it's very normal for kids to struggle to get back to a routine after extended break. But it can be super frustrating. When kids are reluctant, it's also another recipe for homeschool burnout because it's like trying to hit your head against a brick wall. The next thing to do is to make your homeschool as easy as possible. As I mentioned before, the pressure of homeschooling can be heavy. And you might feel, especially at the beginning, like homeschooling should be like public school. And you know from experience that teachers have a lot of prep and administration to do, not to mention like extramurals that they might have to take part in or run as well. I'm here to tell you that there's no need to make homeschooling any more difficult than it is. You can make it easy for yourself and still have kids who learn successfully and who have a wonderful, wonderful homeschooling experience. So one thing that I really, really suggest for making your homeschool easier is an online curriculum, because they can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But most good online programs will need very little prep. So you can literally, your kids can sign in and start learning, and they will adapt to the level and needs of your kids. Most of the good ones do that. And they'll also have a parent portal where you can assign tasks, check what your kids have done, and they will generate reports if you need them to. If you have the budget, you can also outsource. I mean, there are loads of fantastic websites like OutSchool, for example, where you can find what interests your kids. And interest-led learning means happy kids, which in turn means happy working homeschool moms. Asking for help. I did speak a little bit about that before. It can be really, really hard, but it's really important when you feel homeschool burnout looming. So I know it's not easy to ask for help. I am somebody who does not like to ask for help. It's just my nature. But I have realized the value of a strong community of working homeschool moms. I belong to a mastermind of working homeschool moms, and I have a lot of awesome women in my online communities. And they have helped me so much. And there are lots of ways that you can get help. So you could ask for someone to watch your kids so you can take a break. I know that's not possible for everybody, but if that is a possibility for you, I would say take it without feeling guilty. If you need a break, you need a break. Or a partner could get involved in homeschooling if that's a possibility. And my friend Kelly from Curiosity Encouraged said when her kids were young, she used to do homeschool swaps, which I think sounds so cool. So where you can take turns teaching kids in your community, and it's a great way to have a break like that. Or obviously you can go online. I think there is so much value in online community. There are amazing Facebook groups. Obviously, I've got a Facebook group if you want to join. I think it's a really, really great way to find support, advice, and it can be just as good as an in-person support group. Okay, so my final thoughts on homeschool burnout. I think at the end of the day, prevention is better than cure. Maybe you can ask yourself these questions. Is there something you could do today to make your life a bit easier? Or is there somebody you could reach out to? I'm always here if you need help. You can follow me on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can also book in a coaching call with me if you need more one-on-one support. I'd be more than happy to help you so that you can prevent homeschool burnout and so that you can just have the very best homeschooling experience possible. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Drop me a DM on Instagram or post on the Working Homeschool Moms support group over on Facebook. And let me know what resonated the most with you. It would also be great if you could rate, review, and subscribe, or share the podcast with a working homeschool mom who might need it. It's my mission to support as many working homeschool moms as possible. Until next time, take care. Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm a homeschool coach and homeschooling mom.